Higher prices are on the horizon for several imported Chinese goods following President Trump's latest tariff hike. This is the headline from Business Insider, as an additional 10% duty on imports could significantly impact US consumers. Experts warn that products such as electronics, clothing, cars, home appliances may see substantial price increases. The National Retail Federation also anticipating steeper prices for everyday items, urging dialogue to prevent undue burdens on American families. Joining us now to discuss this is Ali Kelly, economy reporter at Business Insider, based in New York. Great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into it. What impact do you think the trade war could have for US consumers?
Absolutely. So in 2023, which is the latest data available, the U.S. imported $427 billion worth of Chinese goods. And over $60 billion of that is things like cell phones, household goods. Where people and American consumers are going to feel that the most is in things like their phones, their clothes, their kitchen, their techs, their cars, their energy. So we rely on China a lot for trade. And I think that that's something that American consumers are definitely going to feel in their everyday budgets, because Trump put that 10% tariff on China, and China hit back with a 15% tariff on coal and natural gas, and another 10% increase on tariffs on oil, things like cars. So that's absolutely going to show up in everyday budgets.
Obviously, Trump had spoken about tariffs, and we saw from the first Trump administration that tariffs was a tool he was willing to use, particularly when it came to China. Voters didn't seem to mind that. Do you think that they will start to when they notice prices going up?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of factors. It's really hard to say, as these the tariff news for China and for other countries is changing so quickly, and so it's really hard to tell exactly when this will show up on the grocery store shelf for American consumers. But I think that tariffs are a common political tool. It's used by a lot of different administrations over the years for a lot of different economic reasons. I think that American consumers are going to see this directly on the shelves in terms of the household items that they're purchasing. And then also, I think for manufacturers, for American small businesses that might do some production, some manufacturing in China, that is also going to be something that might trickle down to consumers, as it might be more difficult for businesses that whether big or small, that produce products in China might have signaled that they might also be raising their prices.
And talk to us about how you think the tariffs could impact retailers in China like Temu and Shein that have been really changing the retail industry. They've been doing so around the world, obviously impacting Amazon as well. This is probably Amazon's best wish to see tariffs on China, particularly impacting companies like Temu and Shein.
Absolutely. So Temu and Shein is an interesting case where there were regulations in place that made it easier for Temu and Shein to be competitive and keep their prices as low as possible, so that people can buy a lot of different items. And that's something that has been really successful in America for that kind of low-cost consumer clothes and such, and home decorations and stuff like that. So I know that is particularly a market that Amazon is trying to tap into, is that like lowest possible household items and essentials that Temu and Shein have really had the edge on. And regulations that are changing might make it more difficult for those Chinese brands to keep the prices as low as they have been.
So when we talk about price increases, how significant are they likely to be? We talk about 10% tariffs on Chinese goods. Is it as simple as that, a price increase of 10% when we're looking at things like laptops and video game consoles and smartphones? And what about the US companies like, say, Apple, that actually build products in China to ship back to the United States? Are they also impacted?
Right. So it's not going to be as simple as seeing something like a 10% increase on your cell phone price. It is going to be more that, like you're saying, Apple is going to probably have to pay more in order to produce an iPhone and to ship an iPhone to the United States and put it in the Apple Store or the Verizon Store where you can buy it. And so in addition, like, I think we'll have tech, groceries, clothes, where we're going to see prices maybe creep up a little by little. That might vary by retailer. That might vary by brand. So I think maybe the better way to think about it is it could increase the Americans' families' budget and how much they spend on household goods by a couple $100s a month or a year. But
yeah, it's such an interesting point, right? Sorry to interrupt. It's such an interesting point because obviously the world of globalization for the past 20, 30 years, ever since Nixon went to China, the whole concept was prices would come down for consumers as manufacturing headed overseas. We saw General Electric send so many jobs overseas as well. And this became a huge story. And for many Americans, the battlers, they were the ones who we are told voted for Trump. Do you think that a positive from all of this, of the prices becoming more expensive to import from China, that manufacturing could get a bounce in the United States, is that part of the story here, or is that wishful thinking?
I think that is part of the hope. I know that was part of Trump's campaign promises, is that it could potentially create a boost and a competitive edge for domestic manufacturers, domestic retailers, American small business, this kind of idea where if you make things in America, if you buy American, that those goods are going to be more accessible and cheaper to you. I think that, as you know, the tariff news is so fast moving and involves a lot of major trading partners for us. And so whether that will carry over in practice is something that we don't quite know the answer to yet. But yes, I think the hope is, at least from the White House, is that it will drive down prices in some way and give an edge to domestic producers.
All right, Kelly there from Business Insider in New York City. Really appreciate your time here on Ticker. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you so much.